Welcome back. While there are significant disparities when it comes to home ownership, there are resources available to help bridge some of the gaps. That includes free money that you might not even know is out there. Ben Simmoneau explains.
That amount of money that I'm paying someone every month, I can own with that.
This time last year, Patosh Francis was paying $2,600 a month in rent and getting frustrated because she thought buying in Boston was moving out of reach as mortgage rates surged through the roof.
It was very discouraging. I mean, every week I was going to open houses.
Then this single mom of four who works for the T found her dream home.
Oh, this street is a gem.
Which just so happened to be on the very same block in Mattapan where she grew up. There was just one rather large problem.
I did not think I could afford it. Absolutely not.
But then Patosh found a unique program offered by the city of Boston that could unlock her dreams. It's called 1+ Boston and offers first-time home buyers who fall under certain income levels both down payment assistance from city funds and reduced mortgage rates from partner banks. Patosh offered $530,000 for her home, putting in $8,000 of her own money, but was able to access $44,000 in down payment assistance and lock in a mortgage rate of 3.875 last fall, even though rates at the time had risen to beyond 5%. Her mortgage payment, including taxes, is the same $2,600 she was paying in rent.
Were you surprised at how much assistance you were able to get?
Absolutely. I was overly shocked, because of what I make. I'm like, they're not going to give me anything.
Have you ever seen a housing market like this?
Every year I say no, and every year it gets worse. So in this current market, I would say no. We need to do a lot more than we're doing, and we need to do it everywhere across the state.
Simone Crawford runs MAHA, the Massachusetts Affordable Housing Alliance. While 1+ Boston's only available in the city, MAHA is working to expand another home buying assistance program all across the state.
Basically, what we're trying to do is act as the bank of mom and dad.
The program, called Stash, provides $10,000 to $20,000 in down payment assistance for first-generation home buyers whose parents never owned. And Crawford says there are other grant programs out there, like Mass Dreams from American Rescue Plan funds, that offers up to $50,000 for home buyers in one of the state's gateway cities. If you stack all the programs, first-time home buyers could get more than $100,000 in help.
That's a lot of money, and still some people are still finding it very difficult.
It's no wonder climbing interest rates alone have led to budget-busting mortgage payments. On a median-priced home in Massachusetts, which is around $550,000, homeowners who buy this spring at 7% are paying almost $1,500 more a month in interest than they did a year ago, when rates were around 3%. But there are other ways to cut that payment.
First, shop around. I know it sounds obvious, but rates can vary by up to a point. And don't forget to check out local banks or credit unions. Consider paying an extra 1% of your purchase price up front in points. That helps lower your mortgage rate. And think about an adjustable rate mortgage or an ARM, which offers a lower rate up front, but make sure you know how long you've got before that rate adjusts.
So while it is a tough market, knowledge can help open that front door. I'm Ben Simmoneau, WCPB, NewsCenter 5.
And joining us now is Kenneth Willis. He's the Senior Vice President and Director of Housing and Community Investment at Federal Home Loan Bank of Boston. FHL Bank is launching a new program called the Lift Up Homeownership Program, designed to help people of color who are purchasing their first home. Kenneth, welcome. Thanks for being here today. First, describe the grant program for eligible home buyers.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Karen. So we are launching on June 1st, Lift Up Homeownership, which is essentially enhanced down payment and closing cost assistance, specifically targeted to people of color to help them purchase a home. We're awarding up to $50,000 for that down payment. And it can be used not only to cover the down payment, but also closing costs. And in the previous segment, you had mentioned that interest rates increasing. In this particular program, funds can even be used to write down the interest rate as much as 2 points.
So we've been talking about mortgage equity. How would your program work in conjunction with helping prospective homebuyers get a mortgage?
Yeah, so that's another great question. So just to kind of set the stage and the context, we're a wholesale bank, so we facilitate all of our programs through our member financial institutions. So these are the banks and the credit unions and communities that we all live and work in. And so a home buyer can essentially work with one of these local banks or credit unions to access the program. The way that it builds equity is by obtaining a grant of up to $50,000. It really does help one of these banks and credit unions be able to make the mortgage, because one of the obstacles that a lot of folks face, particularly Blacks and Hispanics and other people of color, is to obtain a sufficient down payment, right? So these funds provide an opportunity for the home buyer to really have the assets that they can put down as a down payment. In addition to that, in terms of building equity, it really does help the member underwrite the loan. This helps with the loan to value in terms of underwriting the loan. And then it also provides reserves for the home buyer. So it really makes the entire experience for the home buyer a pleasurable one, and one that one of our members can underwrite and ultimately give to the home buyer.
Very comprehensive effort. So how many home buyers do you think this grant will be able to help in its pilot phase?
Yeah, so that's a really good question too. We've got about $2.5 million we're going to allocate this year. It is a pilot program, and it really is unknown at this time as we back them out because it is based on what that particular home buyer needs as a grant as part of the mortgage process. Again, it's a pilot. We're going to be looking to do some deep analyses on who we're serving and how we're serving them, and also what the average grant amount is. So tough to say, but we're looking forward to helping a significant amount of home buyers.
So this is not the only program the bank offers. Describe some of the others, if you would.
Yeah, so we're the Federal Home Loan Bank, so home is in our DNA and in our mission, and so we actually have two other down payment and closing cost assistance programs. One called the Equity Builder Program, which is up to $29,000 that a home buyer can receive, but it's really income restricted at 80% of area median income, so it's a little bit less on the lower side of the income scale. Then we have Housing Our Workforce, which is for workforce housing, so it's middle income, so it serves folks up to 120% of area median income, and that allows up to $25,000 to offset the down payment and closing costs as well. So this is something that we do. This is in our DNA. This particular program, Lift Up Homeownership, is just complementing the other two programs that we currently administer.
So Ken, as we close out the segment, tell us how you're getting the word out. How do prospective homeowners plug into these programs?
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about it here. So this is one way. Our member institutions participated in a webinar last week. We had significant interest in the program. Over 200 members signed up and participated in the webinar. So they, in fact, are understanding of what we're going to do. But in addition to that, we're going to be working with community-based organizations. A minute ago, you mentioned the Mass Affordable Housing Alliance, organizations like that, where the home buyers are actually sitting in the classroom waiting to be assisted. Those are the organizations that we want to work with.
Okay, good luck to you. I'm sure, hopefully, we'll get some calls to your program after watching Cityline today. Thank you, Kenneth Willis. The lingering effects of housing discrimination in Boston. 5 investigates how neighbors on one street are joining forces to promote homeownership. That's next on Cityline.